everyone, this is Lizzie from thishouseofcards.blogspot.com. Today I'm going to share with you this fun nautical themed card using some of the new stamp sets from Lawn Fawn. I'll be using the Float My Boat stamp set and coordinating dies, as well as the Stitch Scallop borders to make some waves, and the Spring Showers, the cloud die specifically. And I also used Milo's ABCs, which was an afterthought, but I used those for my sentiment in the end. So I'm using several colors of Distress Inks, and I'll be applying that to make the ocean scene. But I just wanted to show you, I only have one of these applicators, so I made a bunch of my own just using a wood block and some Velcro. And so that's what I use a lot of times for applying ink instead of having to buy multiple applicators. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you. Right now I'm applying Broken China Distress Ink, and I'm just going to layer it on from lightest shade to darkest. So now I'm using Peacock Feathers and just applying that underneath the Broken China ink. And I know it gets a little bit darker on the edges. I'm not so worried about that right now because the edges are going to end up being cut off, so that's not such a big deal. The next color right now is the Salty Ocean Distress Ink, and that's like my medium color. And then next I'll use some Chipped Sapphire, and then after that I'll use just a tiny little bit of Black Soot Distress Ink just to add a little bit of depth to the ocean. And using these 5 colors are by far my favorite colors to make a little ocean scene. I think I like the turquoise and the blues. It reminds me of the Pacific Ocean, so I like to use these colors to make that. So right now I'm just going back and blending with the rest of the same colors, just so everything blends together. And it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to end up cutting this all apart and die cutting it with the scalloped border dies, but just so it blends a little bit better, I'm just going back with the colors. And it doesn't take too long. So here anyway is the color of the panel. And next I'm going to take some water and just mist it. You know, the Distress Inks reacts with water, and so sort of when the water hits it, it kind of pulls the water, pulls the color out, and so it creates those nice watermarks. And then I went ahead and cut the panel, and then I labeled each of the strips so that they're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I know which order they go in roughly, just so I can layer them up. And I'm using the largest Stitch Scallop die, and I'll just use a little bit of Post-it tape to apply that, hold it in place. And the reason I cut these all out about the same width except for the last panel is just so that they'll all be the same width. It'll be easier for me to adhere everything together, to layer it up. And I just wanted to show you, this was the, the negative, I guess it's called the negative. And I think I'll save those for another project because they're all about the same size. And so now to make the scene, I'm using some Broken China Distress Ink, and I have this cloud template that I've had for a long time. I got it at a craft store at some point. And, I used a scallop circle for the longest time. And the thing I like about this template that I'm using now is that it's made out of plastic or acetate, so that little dauber slides easily off. It's not paper, which so the ink doesn't get absorbed into the paper. So, if you didn't have something like this, I just cut a scallop circle out of some acetate or some transparency, something that's slick, and the ink will just slide right off, just like a craft mat. And it really helps to apply the ink evenly. So anyway, I'm just filling in the whole panel of my card. It's just a standard size card until all the clouds are finished. So for the next part of this card assembly, I'm going to go ahead and adhere all the scallops together to form some waves, and I'm just offsetting them and just gluing them on the bottom so that I can tuck in the sailboat where I like it, because I'm not quite sure yet where I'm going to put it. And you'll notice that I have a red sailboat off to the side, and I was originally going with red but decided I didn't like that color as much on the card, so I'm going to try again and stamp the sailboat image with some Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I thought yellows would go a little bit better with the blues and turquoises. So I'm just using 3 colors of yellow Copic markers. I'm just starting with Y00 as my lightest color. I'm just wetting the paper, giving it, coloring it all over with the lightest, and then going back in with Y15, my darkest, and then Y11, my medium shade, to blend the darkest into the lightest, and then back again with the lightest shade. And I just wanted a little bit more depth, so I went back again with the darkest shade and the medium shade, and again blended that all together, just until I was happy with how the shading looked. And then once everything was colored, I took the coordinating die and ran that through my big cat. So next I'm going to stamp out my sentiment, and I went ahead and mounted some letters from Milo's ABCs onto a block, and I'm just using Memento Tuxedo black ink to stamp Ahoy on the first cloud and Matey on the second cloud. And then now, just to finish off the scene, there's a bird image in the Float My Boat stamp set, and I'm just stamping those just again to finish off the scene, add a little bit of extra interest to it. So now I can finally assemble the card, and I'm just using some liquid glue to adhere the waves onto the card panel, just the white cardstock, and then trimming off the edges just so it's the same width as the card. And now I can go ahead and adhere my sailboat, and I'm going to be using some foam tape on the top of the sailboat and then a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom, so just that it pops up a little bit on the top, gives it a little bit of extra dimension. And then I'll go ahead and find a good spot to nestle the sailboat into the waves and just offset it a little bit so it looks like it's being blown through the water. And after the sailboat is adhered, I'm going to go ahead and adhere the clouds, and I'm going to use a combination of liquid glue and foam tape for the clouds. The smallest one I wanted to look like it was in the background, so I just used some liquid glue, and then I'll use some foam tape for this next cloud to mount it on top of the smaller cloud, and then for the last cloud, I'm going to go ahead and just use some liquid glue to adhere that. So now that the card is finished, I'm just going to fold it in half and crease it with my bone folder. And just as one last finishing touch, I'm going to add some clear glitter from my Wink of Stella pen over the sails and the sentiment. And there you have it, a fun little ocean scene to send to someone to say hello. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.